situation. You should be able to joke about whatever you want to, but people are allowed to be offended
Yeah,
by whatever they want to be offended
absolutely.
by, and people are allowed to not like your joke.
That's true. Why really did he go so popular on TikTok?
Crowd work.
No. I really think because he's a pretty boy.
Comedy is subverting your expectations. You go into something with one thought, and you're supposed to subvert those expectations, and that's where the humor ends up.
That's the whole punchline thing. The more we talk, the more I see parallels with music in between comedy. Alright, energy girl. Look at you proper. Fucking classy.
What does that mean?
You drinking from one side of the glass. That's very fucking classy. The amount of people that have no clue the fact that they meant to do that, that's ridiculous. Like, I'm not, it's not even for the camera, I'm like legit shocked. I'm like, you're slaying, girl. That's basically what I want to say. Okay,
now that I have your approval.
You didn't drink after you cheered me, you bitch. See, that's not classy.
I hate you. The atmosphere of modern day society has created the illusion of moral, philosophical, and social lines between what is considered right, what is considered wrong. We like to examine this theoretical mirage in today's latest topics and controversies. My name is Erin.
I'm Aleks.
Welcome to the show, Aleks.
Alrighty, I'll be introducing a topic today. We are today going to be talking about a line, a mirage in that sense, but very much of a line that's by a lot of accounts has been crossed on a person of Matt Rife or Matt Rife, depending on how you pronounce it. I've heard different people
who don't say Rife or idiots.
I don't know.
His name is Rife.
Look.
Matt Rife.
Yes, and
we all know the meteoric rise and fall of Matt Rife.
Yes, that's true. And that's the point of a conversation today is his new Netflix special, which is called Natural Selection. Very controversial already. He made a joke about a woman with a black eye and how she should be in the kitchen and blah blah blah.
Call it what it is. He made a joke about domestic violence.
Well, basically yes. He made a joke about domestic violence.
I mean, call it spade. Let's just get right into it.
And it didn't sit with a majority of his actual support fan base very well. And well, court is in your ball, Erin. Really, I really wanted to hear your just raw opinion on that because I know you long enough to actually have no clue to what you will think about this particular. Like honestly, I was like, okay, she could be very on one corner, but she also can be like in another corner as well. So I wanted to just listen to your opinion there.
Thank you. That's so nice of you. I seem unpredictable in this moment.
Yes, very well.
I have a lot of thoughts and opinions around this because, my goodness, it has blown up and I can't escape people talking about Matt Rife right now. I was big fan. I think he does incredible crowd work. I was a giant fan of Wild 'N Out back in the day. I don't know if you ever watched this show, but for those of you that don't know, I grew up basically in an all-black community, essentially, in southern Mississippi, which is where I'm from. And, you had like 106 in Park, you had Wild 'N Out. There was a lot of things that was geared towards being black culture, black entertainment. One of those shows being Wild 'N Out. It's hosted by Nick Cannon. And essentially what he did was he had a bunch of improv comedians, but mainly people who could rap or explored in some way some hip-hop culture. And did you ever watch that show, Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Not fully, no, but like clips I knew. Yeah.
So Whose Line Is It Anyway is an improv show. This was like the black culture version of that show.
Okay.
So like you get on and they give you a topic and you have to like rap and insult each other or or spit take was one of the. So you have two team leaders. They take a swig of water. You got to make them laugh. until they like spit out the water.
Okay.
So you just come up and you improv jokes. But it was overall a black entertainment, black audience, not fully, but more geared toward black culture.
Yeah. And I suspect is also done by a black man. Am I correct?
Nick Cannon.
Yeah.
Nick Cannon's the host. He's the creator of the show.
I'm not
Nick
sure.
Cannon used to be married to Mariah Carey. Nick Cannon from Drumline, which again was another black culture movie.
That Nick Cannon.
Yeah, Nickelodeon Nick Cannon. He was on all of that. Like, old school Nick Cannon. He is a very big. He also has like 11 children by 12 different baby mamas. It's not quite
11
that,
children, but 12 children.
That's
great. Yeah.
Hyperbolic.
A couple shared. Yes.
he genuinely has like 11, 12 kids or something. It's crazy. But anyway. Getting off topic. Off topic. So Wild Now, I fucking love that show. I was obsessed with that show as a kid. It was so much part of my culture, my heritage, like just like what I was surrounded with on a day-to-day basis in school. Wild Out was the shit. And then I continued to watch it as I got older. Then they brought in like Conceited, who's one of my favorite underground rap artists. So a lot of people said Conceited sold out from going on the show because it's more of like an established thing rather than just like underground rap where you're like a gangsta, you know what I mean? But not important. So Matt Rife was one of the improv comedians, so there's not a whole lot of white people on it that were like improv comedians. It's almost all black, very few white people.
Okay.
And he was one of them, and he did really well, and that's where I initially knew him from.
Okay.
I knew him from Wild 'N Out.
Yeah.
And he was asked after he had been on the show for quite a while and found quite a bit of success from Wild 'N Out.
Okay.
He was asked by someone if he wanted to be, you know, like the next, I forget the comedian's name, Glenn somebody, who is essentially a white comedian.
Okay.
Who is accepted and geared towards black entertainment and black humor. Okay. And so like, are you going to be the next him? And he's like, I don't want to pigeonhole myself.
Okay.
Meaning he didn't want to just like pander to that. He wants to explore.
Be free and do whatever he wants.
So he went off of Wild Now, and he did not find a lot of success. He was not getting anywhere until he randomly uploaded like a crowd work entertainment onto TikTok.
Okay.
And he exploded.
Uh-huh.
Shortly after that, like through the roof. And he ended up finding a huge audience. Mm-hmm. His fan base being almost entirely female. Yeah. Because
was that just timeline wise? Was it before he got all the plastic surgery and gym workout, or it was within that transition happening?
He didn't find the success until after all that. But he allegedly had plastic surgery. I don't know if he did.
Look at him. Like, you can... No. I'm as a man, I can definitely tell you he had
Oh my God, you're a man?
There is no way you can do that jaw with that lip without doing this. There's no way. There's just no way. So, yes, definitely. And
it would have been after that. Okay. But it was for crowd work.
Yeah,
the reason he's so good at it and the reason it's so funny is because his basis of comedy was in improv media, impromptu, like doing things off the cuff, off the top of your head. Okay. He was really good.
So he practiced. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what he did on Wild 'N Out. That's how you like became successful on Wild 'N Out is because you're like going off the top of your head. Yeah. So his crowd work when he was doing the stand-up comedy was really good. Okay. And that's because he's really experienced at it, and that's why he's so good. He found a lot of success, and women followed him everywhere. Like, huge fan base. And again, he went out, I think it was in Variety. Okay. I believe he did an interview where he was asked, how do you feel about the majority of your fan base being women? Mm-hmm. And he said, I don't want to pigeonhole myself. So, once again, he, like, insulted the group that made him successful. Yeah. And Wild 'N Out, it was like, oh, do you want to be, like, this black entertainer, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to do all that. No. And that was where he found success.
Why do you think... Okay.
Hang on, I'm not done. Let me make my point. No.
Okay.
So he goes, he finds success with, like, the black community over here, and then kind of insults them, go, no, I don't want just that. I want to expand. And then he's asked in, I think it's Variety. I could be wrong. I don't know. It was an interview he did. And they were asking him how he felt about a female fan base. And he's like, I'm not going to pander to them, I think is what he said. So he's not going to give his majority fan base what they want.
Okay.
And so I think it was with that mentality he went into his Netflix special trying to insult.
Yeah.
Say, to demonstrate, I'm not going to pander to that crowd.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I do agree with you.
And what did he do? He just insulted them. I mean, at the end of the day, the joke's a joke. Like, you have the right to free speech, and you can say whatever you want to. That's fine. I don't think anyone should be told that they can or cannot make a joke. You should be able to joke about anything. And I think the moment we say anything is off limits as a joke, that's when we're in trouble. However, at the same time, people have an absolute right to not like your joke.
That's true.
And
absolutely.
People didn't like his joke. A, it wasn't creative. B, it wasn't anything new. It is old. It's been said 1,000 times. It was essentially women get beat up and they belong in the kitchen and should cook. So it's misogynistic. It's bullshit. It's old school. Like, tired.
That's true.
Is how I look at it.
Yeah.
So it's not like the most offensive thing I've ever heard. To me, it's just sad and boring and bullshit. But the problem I had was that people conflate, like, this things you can't joke about with the way that Matt did it. The way that he did it was stupid. I do think it was misogynistic and just, like, uncreative and not funny.
Okay.
Eddie Murphy, you know Eddie Murphy?
Yeah.
Very famous stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
He did a joke about domestic violence.
Okay.
But he had a different spin on it, and it was funny. So his joke was, man, people used to beat up women all the time. You can't do that anymore because women take Tybo and they'll whoop your ass. Okay. That's funny.
Very well.
It's a nice spin.
Very well. Yes.
On,
okay.
Like, if you want to do dark humor and you want to, like, go into this of, people say it's taboo, you can't. No, you can joke about it.
That's
it's
true.
Just be a comedian. Make something new out of it. Make something interesting out of it. Make it, like, from what I understand, comedy is subverting your expectations. You go into something with one thought.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to subvert those expectations, and that's where the humor ends up.
That's the whole punchline thing.
Yeah. That's the point. This was not a punchline. This was women belong in the kitchen and women get beat up.
Down the hill. That's true. And look, there's probably a group of people which would be laughing at it, and fuck it doesn't matter really. What matters is
I want to get into that later.
What matters is that the fact that it probably wasn't as funny. And it probably wasn't as creative. And really, maybe he would benefited it not having that in his special and just moving without that joke further in. Because, again, some of the jokes that we look through just were okay. Yeah. We're just another kind of, we're not like revolutionary or something. Which I also think that's really who he is. Like, yes, he's got extremely popular on TikTok. On blah blah blah, but really,
like
but when you really think about why he's got so popular on TikTok,
crowd work. He's really good at crowd work.
Yes, but why really did he got so popular on TikTok?
Crowd work.
No, I really think because he's a pretty boy. I really think that's what's coming down to.
Potentially, I don't think that harms it, but I think the fact that he's really good at improv comedy, people love.
Could
because you can be beautiful like that.
Yeah.
If you can't do that crowd work, nobody's gonna watch you.
Yeah, that's true. But the pretty privilege is also real.
But there are a lot of unattractive comedians who do, like Jimmy Carr.
That's
He's
true.
fucking amazing at crowd work. He's not attractive.
Yeah, okay.
Let's be honest here.
Hey. My boy Jimmy.
And then you want to talk about plastic surgery. Man, that man's had more Botox and veneers.
Definitely.
Like, no, but seriously, Jimmy Carr, he's not a very attractive looking man. He's okay, but he's not great. He's
crowd work
fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
And why is he hilarious? He's great at hecklers. He's great at crowd work. He's great at improv comedy. So I think that you will find successful comedians that are really good at improv that aren't attractive.
Okay.
And he's really good at improv comedy.
Okay.
He also just happens to be attractive, so that might contribute. But I wouldn't say that's the reason.
I would assume that majority of his fan base came to be from the fact of the short videos on TikTok and him being attractive and grabbing the attention of women
how did he grab that attention though? Because he was good at improv comedy.
No, I think that's came second. I think that's retention.
Sorry, if you gave like one of the most attractive models a microphone and put him on stage, people would probably watch and cringe and go, "This is the most horrendous thing," and he's not going to gain a following.
That's true. So no, that's why I'm thinking. That's exactly what my point is. I absolutely agree with you.
Acknowledge talent.
That's true. No, absolutely. What I'm saying is that he came up to be into the TikTok as an attractive guy, and then because he was actually well at doing crowd work, people actually retained watching him.
This is a big point and distinction I do want to make.
Okay.
His written material never succeeded on TikTok. And he had uploaded a fuck ton.
Yes.
It was not until he was uploading crowd work that he found success. So he did upload without improv and crowd work. He uploaded written material and he was not gaining a lot of traction. It wasn't until he went viral for a crowd work video. So I do want to point that out.
Okay. That's probably be true. However, I would still stand by my thing. And it's kind of
did not hurt him.
That's true. And it's kind of hilarious. And I'm gonna really stick a knife on your back right now, because it's kind of hilarious that it's coming a week after we done a discussion on Billie Eilish just saying that women don't care about men's look, and then half of his career is due to the fact that he's fucking pretty. Like, really?
But you say that again. I'm saying there are successful comedians that are ugly shit.
Probably, I agree.
You could give a pretty man a microphone and people ain't gonna watch it.
Yeah, but
he's talented. Otherwise, he wouldn't get I am not saying that him being attractive probably or conventionally attractive did not contribute. 100% it contributed. But I would say no one would find that success without having some underlying talent. However, his written material is garbage.
Okay.
Well,
subjectively garbage.
Subjectively garbage. So you watch his Netflix special and it's very middle of the road. It's not horrendous.
No.
But it's not great.
Yeah.
What is great about him is his crowd work. His improv comedy.
See that's again, and I think we should a little bit switch into the subject, and I would introduce it to you to the degree, because there is a Ricky Gervais, there is
who
things
does dark humor so well.
South Park, who does the darkest humor there is.
Sorry. Is Ricky Gervais conventionally attractive?
No. That's I'm switching the topic.
I just want to point this out.
Yes, I'm switching the topic, okay? My point was right, and now I'm trying to get another right point on board, okay? So my point was, Ricky Gervais, you take him, very edgy comedian. Dave Chappelle, very edgy comedian.
He's okay.
But very edgy. What I'm saying is he's very edgy.
Yeah.
South Park, very edgy show, and nobody pretty much in the history of life said that, for example, South Park should be cancelled forever.
So
they are very edgy.
This is just gonna get me into my moment of literature.
But good.
Yeah. Am I allowed to speak on this?
Yes.
So, just for anyone that's ever been around an English literature major, you've probably talked about close readings and the distinction between books and literature, and what makes literature, whether it's modern, whether it's historical, is the fact that it's a type of art form that makes a commentary on society and demonstrates topical point of views from that historical, religious, sociological, psychological context. You put all of that into this, and then you make a commentary on certain points. South Park is nothing but making commentary on our parts of modern day society.
Yeah.
And yeah, sure, like a lot of times it's edgy, dark humor, but it's done intelligently in order to demonstrate a point.
Yes, that's true.
And in order to demonstrate, in order to demonstrate a perspective and a comment on our society. And that is what art is.
Yeah.
Saying that a woman with a black eye should hide in the kitchen and cook food, but if she could cook, she probably wouldn't have a black eye, isn't a commentary on our modern day society.
That's exactly the thing.
It is extremely like old school, historical. It doesn't speak about our current psychology, our current sociology, our current anything. And I wouldn't look at it as art because it's not demonstrating a perspective.
That's true.
And then, like, I just personally didn't find it funny. But I understand why people find it offensive. Because we spoke quite a few episodes back about Ruby Frankie.
Yeah.
And the statistics surrounding domestic violence. And you, prior to that episode, had no idea. Like, it was so prevalent.
That's true.
You didn't know it was so...
Yeah,
like,
until I looked at it and I was like, that's crazy.
What was the... Like, I don't remember.
I can find it now. It's in the file here.
Millions of people every year.
Shit, yeah.
Millions of people in just America every year that experience this. So then you had, in my personal opinion... more artistic responses to Matt Rife on TikTok that I saw. There were some women who had bruising and sat there doing their makeup to cover up all of the bruising over like the audio of Matt Rife's. And to me, that demonstrated
1 in 7 women.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But not just women.
But no, that's true. I didn't know that was the kind of the... That's a strong statement. That's a very strong statement.
And it wasn't just one that came up on my For You page. It was multiple of women genuinely with like bruising on their arm, bruising on their face, doing their makeup to cover it up for the day.
That's crazy.
Over his audio.
Legit.
And once you see that, it's like, you're right.
That is art.
That's art.
I'm just going to say that out.
It's sad
that
to
is
say
art.
that.
But it is. Yeah,
but that's a proper commentary on something.
That's crazy.
Whereas what he said is not a commentary on something. It's not funny. It's just lazy and
it's
trashy.
old. Yes. No, it's
old.
Yeah.
So there were multiple videos of women covering up the doing a get ready with me essentially.
Yeah. That's
getting ready for the day.
Yeah.
She one woman she pulled back her ear and showed all the bruising behind her ear, and then put on like a big headband and So it's just like you see that and you're like, you know what, ma'am, you're right.
Yeah.
Because how many millions of people get beat every year?
That's
Is it
true.
funny? No.
And that's proper art. That's a proper commentary on society. That's really making a point out of it. And that's again like coming to a South Park or Ricky Gervais in that sense. But even to like a Dave Chappelle, as much as he's very, very edgy, and there are a lot of things that I absolutely don't agree with.
I think that he's a good comedian, and I understand why people like him. It's just his what do you call it? Like flow, like. You know, the way that people talk and then say their punchline? His never resonated with me, so I was never a huge fan. Not necessarily because I, hated his content. I can understand why people find it funny.
It just didn't resonate.
It just wasn't mine. Ricky Gervais?
Yes. I absolutely agree with you. I actually loved his, but at the same time, he's again very edgy person. It's himself, and all of his comedy is very edgy. At the same time, I think we as a modern society need to come to the point that we actually, because it's art. It really is. As much as some people look at it and be like an old white man staying on the stage and saying jokes, It's really a form of art, and it's really
comedy
commentary on
is
society.
art,
Yes,
and it should be.
And it should be, and it should be treated with a dignity to the fact that some artists will cross the line, but will cross the line for actually a good of the society. Yes. And not because blah, blah, blah.
Not necessarily a good of society. For me, it just needs to be an interesting perspective, and it needs to be an interesting commentary.
That's true.
On something, maybe not something that we all like think about on a day-to-day basis, but something that like oh god, I don't know his name, but he just did the SNL skit with Keenan.
Okay.
And they were dressed up as like revolutionary soldiers fighting the British at a camp.
Okay.
Not actually fighting, but having like the camp in between the battles.
Okay.
And he was like, I dream of an America, of our new country where we'll have measurements of feet and inches and nothing will match up and fuck the metric system. And it was just really funny.
It was funny.
And it's like, that's a brilliant commentary on
it's funny.
America and like the way that America is. That's as trivial as people might want to reduce comedy to. It is supposed to be art. It's supposed
That's true.
to tell something.
That's true. And my point from that was the fact that we should give a form of amnesty to people who do that form of art. However, we should also treat it as a standard of art, and that's where it should come from.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You're allowed to make a joke about whatever you want to. I don't think there should be a line
where you cannot make a joke about. That's true.
Right.
Absolutely.
You shouldn't make a line of anything. And I think this is especially true when it comes to government or politics in general, because it's only dictators in this world that like forbid you and you go to jail if you make a joke about the dictators, whatever.
Yeah, that's a
you should never be in that situation. You should be able to joke about whatever you want to. But people are allowed to be offended by whatever they want to be offended by, and people are allowed to not like your joke.
That's true.
And
absolutely.
I think Matt Rife is finding out that
See, what I think though is he really just done that for a reason. I think he actually went for it. I think there were producers there and Netflix and in his personal stuff as well to be like, this is
Well, like I said before, I think because he's so afraid of being boxed into a specific thing, typecasting for actors where it's you're cast as the Mexican thug in this movie, and then the next role that you get is only going to be the Mexican thug in this TV show, and then you'll be the Mexican thug in this blah blah blah. Sometimes people get pigeonholed into typecasting.
If you just take this phrasing right now that you had for a short story, you'd be the biggest racist ever exist in this world. This is hilarious.
It's not.
It's just hilarious.
It's not racist. What I'm pointing out is that Hollywood does that. They'll finally give a Latina woman a role in a show or a movie, but then she will have to portray the exact same character in this movie as she does in this show, as she does in this show. People get typecast, is what they call it.
That's true. That's true.
And I think he was so afraid of being typecast as the white man who's really funny to black people that he ended up offending that audience. And then he was so afraid of having an all-women fan base.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to be pigeonholed into being a women comic.
Yeah.
So he insulted his fan base. I think he did it on purpose. Yeah. Trying to prevent himself from being pigeonholed. Yeah. But really what he did at the end of the day was he bit the hand that fed him. This is the group that gave you success. Insult them. Here's another group that gave you success. Insult them. It's okay.
But at the same time, I do have to point out that he's still growing in that sense, and so that's why a lot of people say, well, this is the fall, that's the final kind of straw in the camel's back that broke the camel's back. But at the same time, looking through all of this, it kind of he's kind of coming out on top, and I think that in his mind
that he's going to be more popular.
No, I think in his mind he's like, I've done it already, so it doesn't fucking matter. I think that's what's in his mind.
Well,
I don't know.
So when people were upset, when the majority of your fan base is women.
Yeah.
And 1 in 7 women in America alone are domestically abused.
Yeah.
And that number will rise in more misogynistic countries. So majority of your fan base is women. So you go and insult women and tell them, something that's probably applicable to them.
Yeah.
And sad to them.
Yeah.
And just kind of insult them.
Yeah.
Do you really expect, to continue to
move on from that? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Again, I didn't personally, I grew up in a domestic violence house, but not at the hands of men, and not because I couldn't cook, just because I had a terrible mother. But, it's not, I don't know, it's not funny. I think there's, different ways. Like I said, with Eddie Murphy, he, took it, dark humor thing, and put a twist on it.
But again, Eddie Murphy did it for a reason. Because it was a time to actually... Because it was quite dramatic.
An actual commentary.
And quite sad. And he, tries to make a light of the moment and be like...
No, but not just, light of the moment.
Yeah, but,
what he spoke about was how...
Was real.
Well, what I'm saying is, it was a commentary on society because what he was talking about was how women went from being domesticated housewives to going into the working world to, getting significantly heavier in the 80s into sports. And so he's like, oh, you can't beat women up anymore. They could whoop your ass.
Yeah.
That is literally a direct commentary on how that society had progressed.
Exactly.
That's why it was funny.
And that's why, that's why it's funny, because you look at the progression and you're like, this is hilarious because of what the societal standard is and what the standard is becoming to be, and that's great.
Yeah.
And that's why it's funny. Exactly the same as if you just do it as a joke, and as we discussed, it becomes sad. With all of that being said, what I also wanted to point out is that he kind of strives to be an edgy comedian for this particular
which is fine.
special, which is also fine. However,
you just have to do it the right way.
Yes,
and I don't
agree.
think his art is there.
I agree, and I most agree there. However, I also wanted to say that you don't really need to be an edgy comedian to become successful. You also don't. You can be Trevor Noah, his latest.
I love
nowhere
him.
near to be edgy. Hilarious.
Love him. He's so great.
He's great, but he's never approached, to my mind, an edgy subject. Really.
Yeah.
Do you he's always joking about something that or quite far from our people's reality,
I do think
live in South Africa.
Okay,
or
but I think you do have to in some way acknowledge the psychology of the culture that you and I and Matt Rife kind of grew up in, which was shock value and shock humor during the early O's got you far.
Yeah, that's true.
I just don't think that he's gotten on
edginess takes people far now. TikTok. That's why he's so popular to the degree as well, because he's working this line.
Well, no, I think he's so popular because of his fucking crowd work. I think he's great at that.
Okay.
But I want to read something off to you.
Okay.
So this is a scientific article called Psychology Behind the Unfunny Consequences of Jokes That Denigrate.
The fact that somebody writes an article about, and probably somebody got a PhD on it, that's hilarious. Okay.
So the studies surrounding humor.
Okay.
I just want to point out a couple factoids.
Okay.
Around all of this, because I understand there's a whole lot of red pill, Republican men that are oh, he didn't do anything wrong, he's fucking hilarious, and blah 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 blah. Okay. So there's a lot of you out there. That's cool. You do you, boo. But I do want to like point out some actual scientific studies surrounding this particular phenomena.
Okay.
Which is, in studies, men higher in hostile sexism, which is what they're going to call it, which is like antagonistic against women.
Okay.
So this would be a joke that is quite antagonistic against women.
Okay.
So men whose like humor is in this reported a greater tolerance of gender harassment in the workplace. So they can see their coworker, female, getting like her ass grabbed or like jokes made about her, and they're less likely to do anything about it.
Okay.
They're more accepting of it.
Okay.
They also recommended greater funding cuts to women's organizations within universities. So this is like a common thing that they found. And even more disturbing, men with hostile sexism like humor have a greater willingness or expressed greater willingness to R-word a woman. Upon
R-word. R. Not ringing a bell. We can discuss it later. Oh, okay. A woman. Okay. Okay. Oh, okay. So the percentage. Yeah. Okay. I see where it goes. Yeah.
What I'm just saying is.
Yep.
There is a huge correspondence between people who find this type of humor funny.
Okay.
With people who are willing to commit violent
acts
towards women.
I see.
Or accept like women being harassed in some form, or even participating in said harassment.
Okay.
So there is a direct link, scientifically proven, between finding that funny
and that,
and this
that's
other
true.
stuff. So I just want to point that out. So this is also something that's like in the back of women's minds about, you know, like you can't go jogging alone at night. You can't wear your headphones when you're walking down the street. You can't do this, that, and the other. You got to carry your keys in between your fists. Like you always have to be kind of vigilant. You always have to be alert. Women are constantly running scared because they are terrified of, you know, being R-worded or killed. All of these kinds of things. And here's a moment where like violence is displayed towards women and people find it funny. But there is genuinely psychological and survival psychology of women going, oh shit, he finds that funny. There is an increased risk that he would do something towards me.
That's true.
So that's just like something playing in the back of the women's minds over here. Yeah. And they're not wrong about it. Scientific studies prove it. It is direct correspondence.
That's true. No.
Not saying that if you find it funny, you necessarily would do that. We're just stating there is a statistic, like greater likelihood that you would participate or be a part of something like that.
And there is a logic to that, and for just to kind of reinstate the point that they are trying to make is if you put the kind of a sieve, imagine, right, over a joke that falls, right, and some people kind of don't find it funny because it's a little too far.
That's a beautiful metaphor. I really appreciate they fall to another level. Just a sieve on a joke. That's a great metaphor. I love it.
No, but
go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah. And there is a little bit of a finer sieve to the next joke, and finer sieve to the next joke.
Yeah.
What people find of that edginess that he's shown is so many levels further the finer sieve that the percentage of men who would be accepting of that stuff would be falling in, and the percentage of men who wouldn't be accepting of that stuff would diminish dramatically. And it's like, it makes absolute logical sense that this is actually what they found being true, because that's just, of course, that's the way it is, that's the way it works. You just work out for the kind of jokes pattern perspective, and you're like, that's too edgy for most of the normal people. So who do you live? A little bunch of normal people who are just enjoying that kind of jokes, and then all the other people who find it okay.
Yeah.
And makes absolute sense.
Again, what I said, you cannot censor jokes.
That's
But you sure as shit can be a comedian that bombs. Like, nobody would bat an eye if someone told a bad joke and nobody laughed at it. Like, nobody would be like, oh, they're not laughing because it's, they didn't understand the joke. It's like, no, sometimes jokes bomb.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just don't fucking work. Yes. And I think this is a prime example where they don't, but I think he did it 100% on purpose.
Yeah, no. I do agree with you, and it's again coming to the point that I said that I think he thought it through, and I think he might be having some of kind of delusion within that. Did you watch the
full special from him?
I have not watched the full special, so I've watched as many clips as I can.
Have you seen like his crowd work stuff?
I've seen some of the crowd work stuff. I have not
his
seen
crowd
like
work stuff is great.
I've not seen everything.
I wish he would just stick to that. He should just do like improv shows.
You cannot do an improv show on the crowd work stuff. No, you cannot.
That's literally what like.
You cannot sell Netflix on the crowd work. No, shit no. I think he's just I think what's happened is he became too big for his own likeness. And he cannot do better because he just is not his skill. So he tried to go better by trying to ride. No, I think he did. I think in his mind was like, okay, what I'm gonna do is because this is really my limit right now. I'm gonna become as edgy as it can, so more people talk about me, so more people see it, so I become more popular. I think that's what literally went through his mind, and be like, algorithm will push it anyway. Fuck it.
He's such an idiot. He should have told the story of Christina, which is like his most famous crowd work, which is this woman who's like really attractive, but she's a grandmother, and she baked him cookies, and she has like boobs that like she had a bad boob job, and like she squeezes it, and it sounds like a dog toy.
I think I've seen that video.
It's so funny.
Yeah, and she like been to his show like twice.
It's so funny. Yeah. Like he could tell that joke. It's great. Those are the moments.
Do not knock that. That's here. Just saying.
Shut up, Aleks.
But no, that's true. I think I've seen that particular clip about him. And look, as well as he can be composed, so as well as he can be composed with the crowd work. Do you think Netflix would make a special out of him working with people? Like, I don't know, I'd never seen a Netflix special for that, or any kind of big production air special, comedy special of people working crowd. I've never seen that. So he could have become the bloody first one. Damn, he could have.
Well, why not?
But he didn't.
Like, make history. Why don't do something different? Like, go
but
for
he
gold.
Didn't.
This just makes me think of like Ricky Gervais and his edgy humor, and so Ricky Gervais, the point of his humor is to bring up taboo subjects that like nobody wants to acknowledge, nobody wants to talk about. Like maybe it's like statistically proven Catholic priests molesting little boys. Like this is a fact that it happens, and like make jokes about how the church sweeps it under the rug and ignores it. You know, he goes for gold, but he picks subjects that people think are taboo and like opens it up and makes it okay to talk about, which I think is a brilliant artistic way, genuine artist, bringing these types of subjects to the forefront of people's minds, conversations,
so they can be resolved.
So they can be resolved eventually.
That's true.
This was just like, like asking it to be swept under the rug again.
Hey, but it's the more we talk, the more I see parallels with music in between comedy and like music creation in that sense. Is that
there's
like
so many popular artists that really piss me off because they have incredible voice. Like, for example, I'm just gonna this is off topic, but I'm just gonna throw this out there. Ariana Grande, fabulous voice, fabulous. Yeah. She could do genuinely artistic, amazing things if she wanted to. What does she do? She goes and like makes a song, "Break up with your boyfriend, I'm bored." Break up with your girlfriend, I'm bored. It's like, really? Speak on society. Speak on commentary. Like make a statement.
But that's
people don't want to make statements anymore. They just want to go. oh baby, let's go drive in our car, and it's like you're not talking about anything substantial.
Yeah.
We want something substantial. We want something that like moves us and speaks to us and talks to us, which is why I think that we might be potentially moving into kind of a revolutionary moment where artists now genuinely need to speak about things that matter.
That becomes more and more edgy. The music becomes more and more edgy as well.
Yeah, and not just like more and more edgy, but like more and more artistic in that it's speaking about something. Where I think we've gone through this pop bullshit crap for so long. Now you have like Billie Eilish, who like genuinely speaks on actual things and topics. And,
that's true.
Like she's touched everything.
That's their job. That's like legit what they should do.
Should be.
Yeah.
But like, I feel the worst for rap just in general because having grown up in the 90s with like 80s rap, 90s rap, people spoke on genuine like commentary
legit
on society. Yeah. It was like, this is the way that we're living. These are the things and experiences that we go through and it's fucking hard. And they like turn these beautiful, like terrible things into beautiful spoken word.
Yeah.
But then you just get rap now where it's like, get your weed and a grill and your cars and like, let me buy some ice. And
I will.
I got this woman bouncing on my dick, and it's like, okay, cool, but what does that say?
Okay.
What are you saying about our world today?
That's true.
Go speak on something.
Again, in the rap world, Eminem would do a lot of different comments on that particular part of it. But what I wanted to kind of point out as well in that subject is also that we are, because we are so human, we do tend to pay so much attention. Oh yeah, of course you are. We pay so much attention to good stuff, and we kind of throw away all the rubbish kind of behind it, and that's why we like remember past as such a good time. All the time, because it's like you just remember good stuff.
2005 to 2010 was my past. That was supposed to be a good time.
Yes, but like 80s and 90s was the past, and now you remember it's a good time.
No, I'm talking about music that like spoke about things.
Yes.
Whereas we have gone through quite a lull of just, touching the surface, not really art.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Within that being said, Recovery came out as 2010, so I will definitely throw the ball at you.
I said pop. I didn't say rap.
Yeah.
I
okay.
said pop.
Okay. Pop. Yeah.
Okay.
But hey, like.
So name one pop song that spoke about something that mattered.
Hosier exists.
And when was their pop song? They don't do pop.
Hosier does the pop.
Okay.
Hosier, like, look.
Take us out, Aleks.
And yes, he does do pop. Okay. Excuse you, he's
that's
at large pop.
Which means that's the end of today's episode.
Hey, I'm doing the exit.
Yeah,
today. Okay, because you did the yes. So the alarm has sounded, which means that today's episode is over. Which means the conversation is really not over because it is forever and ever going to be on the subject or some form of the subject that we discussed today on the internet anyway. Within that being said, we are on YouTube, and it's kind of our prime platform, but we are on any other podcast platforms as well, such as Apple Podcasts. You can find us out there as well. We are on a TikTok, Instagram, which I do like to post some kind of things on it, and Threads as well. So definitely look at us up there if the short content is your thing. Within that being said, again, I was Aleks, she was Erin, and we actually love you, and please watch us. Thank you.
We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye. Yeah, no, he's more pop than not.
He's not. He's folk.
Music primarily folk, blues.
Folk.
Okay,
folk.
Fuck you. Okay, fine. You're great. You're folk. Right.
I am always right, Aleks. One day you will learn.
Yes.